Today we're checking out the larger plus version of the Tab S10 FE. I think there's a couple things that make this pretty interesting over the previous S9 FE Plus. First thing that I noticed is they raised the price $50, starting at $649 since the S9 FE Plus. You'll also get $350 off if you trade in your older S9 FE Plus, at least in the United States. I went with the blue version. You also have silver and gray. You have the option of 128 or 256 gigabytes of storage. Also takes a micro SD card up to 2 terabytes. I believe this one's Wi-Fi only, but if you want the cellular version, you can get that in the smaller, regular size S10 FE. Okay, looks pretty similar. You can see it's got just enough blue, but still pretty subtle as far as the color goes. Definitely feels quite a bit larger than the regular S10 FE. Still really thin though. You can see the fingerprint scanner there on the power button. Also has the new style of speakers, just like the smaller S10 FE. You can see it's a lot larger than the regular S10 FE. Also looks like the bezels are just a little bit smaller on the Plus version. You can see it's a little bit taller than the S9 FE Plus. They also changed the camera a little bit, got rid of the second one. Of course, no more AKG. It's a little bit wider now as well. And of course, the different style of speakers. One big upgrade is you now get 7 years of software updates, just like its smaller sibling. You can see the new One UI 7 Android 15 welcome screen. You've got face unlock, fingerprint, pattern, pin, or password, fingerprint scanner right on the power button. And of course you have Gemini as the assistant. You still have Bixby, you just have to hold down on the power button. Of course you have light or dark mode on here. Apparently a lot of people that use the 12.4 inch tablets from Samsung wanted the screen to be a little bit larger because now it's a 13.1 inch IPS LCD display at 1800 by 2880 resolution with up to 90 Hz adaptive refresh rate. It's also IP68 dust and water resistant. I know there's going to be some people that prefer an AMOLED screen on here, but I gotta say this has nice contrast, colors are nice and vibrant. I think most people will be surprised at how good the screen looks on here, but of course some of that's going to be personal preference. Of course you can still snap the S Pen to the side or on the back, and it doesn't need charging, which I always like with the FE series. Of course you have your S Pen tools over here on the side, pretty similar to before. Of course now they added the AI select. You've also got S Pen to text, air actions. I think if you're wanting to take notes, draw, or just move around the software, it's pretty tough to beat the S Pen from Samsung. If you go into settings under display, you've got motion smoothness, where you can pick between adaptive, which goes up to 90 Hz refresh rate, or standard at 60. You also have Google Discover or Samsung Free left of the home screen. It's also nice to see you don't see a lot of pre-installed apps on here, just a handful from Samsung, Google, Microsoft. You've also got Clip Studio, GoodNotes, LumaFusion, and a couple extras like Spotify and Netflix. Swipe down anywhere on the screen and you'll get your notifications. They moved the quick settings though up in the right hand corner, but keep in mind you can always go into the settings and change it so it's like the previous One UI 6, where everything's in the center when you swipe anywhere on the screen. I feel like you can customize things a little bit more than in the past, so that's good to see as well. And then of course you can add a lot of shortcuts in here, like secure folder, secure Wi-Fi, kids, live transcribe, screenshot, extra dim, and so on. I'm glad they finally added the volume controls right in the quick settings. Not really sure why they waited so long. Of course you have the newer style of Samsung DeX. Personally, I like to go into the settings and switch it to the classic version, but it's definitely nice to have both options. If you're wondering whether this has video out to use an HDMI adapter, unfortunately it doesn't. You can see in the Edge panel you also have AI Select, where you have extra stuff like Read Aloud, Auto Trim, Custom Filters, Object Eraser, and so on. Just keep in mind you have to be logged into your Samsung account for some of those. And then of course you have the taskbar down at the bottom. I think it comes in handy when multitasking, but you can still turn that off in the settings if you need to. It's pretty easy to do split screen or just have multiple apps going at the same time. It also comes with the Exynos 1580 processor with 8 or 12 gigabytes of RAM, depending on which storage option you go with. It's definitely a nice increase over the previous Tab S9 FE Plus on single and multi-core scores, but the GPU performance has more than doubled, which is always nice to see. Just like the smaller S10 FE, I feel like this one has plenty of power for most people, especially if you want a larger tablet to do some multitasking, drawing, or to play some games like Asphalt Legends Unite and PUBG Mobile. Of course, graphics and frame rates aren't going to be the best out there, but it's still fun to play games on a larger screen like this. It's got a 10,090 milliamp hour battery. I also ran my typical battery drain test at 100% screen brightness, and it lasted about 7 hours, so pretty similar to the previous S9 FE Plus, maybe a hair better. Keep in mind though, there's a lot of variables when it comes to battery life, but it should last a couple days with the mixed use, even longer once you turn the screen brightness down. It also has up to 45 watt fast charging, just like the smaller S10 FE. It's got one speaker on each side with Dolby Atmos, and definitely sounds good in person, in my opinion. Here's a quick sample just to give you an idea of what it sounds like. They've also upgraded the rear-facing camera to 13 megapixels. In the camera app, you've got portrait, photo, video. Under more, you have Pro video, night, food, panorama, hyperlapse, and single take. You can also shoot up to 4K resolution, 30 frames per second for video, and that's on the front and rear-facing cameras. Actually looks like pretty good photo quality, at least on my studio lighting. Here's a few quick samples just to give you an idea of what to expect from the Tab S10 FE Plus. I feel like the photo and video quality on here is pretty similar to the regular S10 FE, probably a little better than average compared to other tablets that I've tested. So I think this would be a good option for Zoom meetings or other video conference calls, or if you just want to record your dog playing for a YouTube video so you can look back at it years later. This one may be personal preference, but I think it's a solid upgrade over the previous version, even if it's pretty minimal, especially with the 7 years of software updates. The question is, do you want the regular size 11-inch tablet or one of the biggest tablets available, which could be a little bit harder to take with you when traveling. I'll definitely be doing some comparisons with this tablet and a couple others that I have, so you'll want to keep an eye out for those upcoming videos.
So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.